So in this video we're going to try to make silicone reproduction jewelry molds out of 100% silicone caulk. Now what I would normally use would be a product by a company called Castaldo that is called Quicksil. It's a two-piece binary compound that you knead together like putty or a dough, and it makes a silicone mold that we cut in half, and we use this mold and we inject molten wax into it, and that's what gives us our wax model for lost wax casting. And really there's nothing wrong with this. The biggest problem that I have with that is it's about $75 for these two cans, which I can make maybe 6 or 8 molds out of that can, and 6 or 8 molds of this size anyway. It takes a couple of days to get it in when you order it, and I saw a YouTube video where people were using 100% silicone caulk, and they were making molds, impression molds, not a two-piece mold like this, but just an impression mold that they were pouring resin into and making resin jewelry with. And I thought, well, if they can do it with that, let's try to make a two-piece mold with a $6 tube of 100% silicone. And will it work? I have no idea. We're going to give it a shot and see. So stand by. Okay, so what we have here is just a bowl of just regular tap water that I've added some liquid dish detergent to, and I don't think I quite have enough, so I'm going to add some more out of my Soul beer bottle glass. Y'all check out the other video where I made the Soul beer bottle glass. But I'm just going to pour detergent in here. I want quite a bit. I don't want it to be sudsy, but I definitely want to have a lot of soap in it, and the soap is going to help keep the silicone from sticking to your fingers and your hands. And actually I probably need to get a towel. If you'll stand by for just a second, let me grab a towel. I'll be right back. This might be a good time to explain to you what I have right here. This is going to be our model, what we're actually going to use. It's a sterling silver ring, just a regular plain old ring. I've taken a piece of brass rod and soldered to the bottom of the shank that I will use as my sprue. So what this is going to do is give me an impression in the mold that you see right here, which is a wax channel for the wax to inject up into, such as that. So I've already got this part done, and I have a mold frame right here and a couple of mold frame plates right here. Let me go ahead and cut this open. And I'll probably have to puncture it. Alright, so we punctured it, and I'm just going to take and squirt quite a bit into the water. I have no way of really judging this to know how much it's going to take, how much I need, so I'm just going to probably overdo it. In theory, if I get my hands wet with the soap, I should be able to knead this without it sticking, and so far I can. And the more I work it, the more this glob will solidify over time, as it's supposed to. And when it starts to solidify and get somewhat, when it starts to set, I should say, I'm going to pull it in half. I'm going to pack the bottom half of the mold frame, put my model in, and then the top half, and then basically we're just going to let it cure. We'll come back later with a scalpel or an X-Acto knife and cut the mold in half, pull out our model, see what kind of surface we're left with on the inside, and see if we can inject a wax. I don't know. And really, I don't expect this to be a good alternative to the Quick Seal, which is a professional rubber that I showed you in the can. It's just kind of an experiment to see if it will work, but I can see where it can have its uses. If you're going to be doing, you know, dozens upon dozens or hundreds of molds or models out of one mold, I really don't expect this to hold up. I don't think it would ever hold up to that kind of abuse. But on most of my jewelry molds, I'm making a dozen or less of any one piece. So I figure at that rate, it shouldn't be. It should be strong enough to do a dozen, I would think. It's a huge unknown, not ever having done this before. So let's just go ahead and try it and see. We may end up having to do a second take. But so from here, I'm just going to push it down in the frame. That's actually a bit too much. It's going to stick to the frame too. All right. So there's half. Now I'm going to place my model in, such as that. Pack the top half. From here, I'm going to take a top plate, squeeze down on it. Such as this, and without putting mold release on here, there's a very high likelihood that I'll silicone these two halves together and they'll never come apart again. I mean, it is a bonding agent, so we'll see. But I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm going to leave this sitting out on maybe on top of this. And I guess we're just going to let it sit here. We'll let it sit for, I don't know, we'll let it sit for an hour or two. We'll come back and check it, and this will be kind of my litmus test to see how it's setting up. And when it fully hardens, we'll see if I can separate that. That's going to be the big unknown, because I figure I've probably just permanently stuck those together. But anyway, we'll give it an hour or two. We'll come back and see what happens. So we'll see you in a couple hours. Okay guys, it's been 2 weeks since we used this regular 100% silicone to try to do a jewelry mold with it. And as you can see, it's not completely cured. The inside of it's still a little bit it's just not cured, and this is just a blob that I have sitting on this. The outside's not doing terribly bad, but it's got a lot of air bubbles in it, and the inside is just not curing at all. So this is the mold. I've already twisted the top half off, and the bottom half is yeah, no, just not working out. So it, as you can see, it's not cured at all, not remotely. And I'm assuming that's because it's not been allowed, you know, air, and the air is what allows it to cure, I'm sure. Then again, I kind of wonder, you know, over here on the edges of the frame, it's a little more cured than the center, and it doesn't get, well, maybe it does get a little air between the plate and the frame. I'm going to call this a fail. It did not work. I don't know if it's going to work, simply because the ones that I saw prior on YouTube, they were just impression molds, and they were allowed to air cure, and air could get to them. You can see this side here, where I took this top plate off, it's a little more cured than the back side. So it looks like air is what it's going to take for it to cure. I'm not real sure if the water and the soap being incorporated into the silicone has some type of negative effect on it. I'm going to assume it probably does. I would think that as you knead the silicone and fold it over, you're probably trapping water inside the layers when you fold it up, and that's probably not helping matters. So I don't know. I'm not through with this experiment. I'm going to try again. I may try a different type of silicone, and I'm going to try it again with the frame without water and soap, without having to use my hands. So in other words, I'm going to take one of these and lay it down such as this, and I'm just going to squirt silicone in it. Press my model in, and then squirt silicone over the top, and try it that way and see what happens. I'm not through with it yet, but obviously this is not going to work. It's been 2 weeks, and we're no more closer now than we were when the night that I started it. So if you guys have any experience with this, if you have any tips, suggestions, or tricks, drop a comment in the box below, and I'll be glad to take y'all's advice and see what happens. And it may not work. And like I say, I'm reinventing the wheel anyway. I just wanted to know if it would work based on my use, because you know this product here. This product here does a great job. Castaldo makes a great product. And this thing will cure in a half hour tops, and I'm done, ready to cut. Basically, it was just an experiment for fun, just to see if it would work or not. And obviously, it's not going to. But if you guys have any suggestions, drop a comment, like the video if you like it, dislike it if you don't, share it if you want to, and we'll try this again later and back up and punt, see what happens. Thank you very much. You guys have a blessed day. Bye.